Okay, it's the same chart. This just has the constellations around it. There's another form with all the stars, but this is my chart. And there's 3 ways of drawing the aspects in the heliocentric chart. There's probably more, but there's 3 ways that I work with. One of them, so each one's giving you different information. Quite remarkable. Okay, so this one, the first one, standard aspects. Here, squares are red, oppositions are red, conjunctions are red. But you're going to notice some conjunctions are going to be really long and some conjunctions are going to be really short. They're different size, and you can't just see them around an even chart like your natal chart. You can see the squares and opposites easily. Here, there's a texture to where they come up. And here there's a grand trine going between Venus and Saturn and Earth and Mars. So the positions you can tell by each orbit has the position. So this is with standard aspects. Okay, just the sextiles, the trines, the broken red lines, the 135 or a 45-degree aspect, and they're put in like this. When they make a grand trine or something, they shade in that area. But see all the different arrows, there's all these nodes, huge amounts of broken lines with nodes on them. Those nodes are nodes to the Earth, to the Sun, to Mercury, to Venus. Each planet has nodes to each of the other planets. So there's a lot of nodes. And those nodes all have their cycles, so don't stay put. That I don't have calculated, but I made them to be where they were in 2000, I think. And then I just adjust, I rotated it from there, but they would fluctuate a little bit from this. Then you can see the points where the line of where it gets closest to the sun, when it gets furthest from the sun, the points. And the zodiacs on these charts, you don't see those broken lines. You see how there's a color spectrum on each circle. And when it gets to the orange, the red to the orange, that's the solstice. When it starts with amber to yellow, and that's the summer. You can see the seasons of each planet on this in its own orbit on this chart. And you'll notice how some planets, Neptune and Pluto, are kind of in the same seasonal mode. But if you go down to Uranus, Saturn's more in the fall, when Pluto's in the Pluto's area it's the springtime. So you can see how the seasons aren't the same for each planet, and then nature. You're getting into weather when you start looking at the seasons and the rotation of each planet and the amount of time in a day and where it's going. You're getting into the texture of the weather and the dynamic of what and the textures of how life would be there. So this is the first chart, which is standard aspects. The second one is more color coordinated one. We have the sun is in the center, the earth. So the earth is in Aries, the sun is in Libra. So I color the sun green because from the earth, it's the season of Libra. You know, that's just our timestamp. But the earth puts a color from the earth. What each sign it's in has a color. And there's a beam of light, orange to Uranus, yellow to Saturn and Pluto, green to Neptune, blue to Saturn, blue-green to Saturn. So you can see Earth sets up a color line to each planet, and the sun sets a color for each line it is in heliocentrically. So Uranus, Pluto, Saturn, Neptune, Jupiter, even Mars, are all in the same signs. But from the Earth, my Venus is in Sag and Mercury is in Scorpio, but from the sun, my Mercury is in Capricorn and my Venus is in Aries. So you get a whole different take by the color, and the whole thing is shaded light green because I'm born in because it's a Libra. So this has a mixture of the sun, of the heliocentric and the geocentric rays and the color and the shape of the solar system. We talked about the double degrees and the constellation, the precession, when we looked at the main chart. So, okay, that. And we'll take the third one is simply each planet. So if Earth is in Aries, it sends a red beam of Aries out to each of the planets. If this is heliocentric, so if Venus is in Aries, it sends a red beam out to each planet. The Pluto in Leo is going to send a yellow beam out. So every aspect has 2 colors. There's 2 colors in the Earth-Sun one, but really these ones, each planet to each other, it's kind of gives you the mood by signs of each planet and the colorings, and you get a kind of cosmic Rorschach test. So these are the 3 heliocentric charts that I found, and then I made it with this one has the constellations, some have the stars. And they end up being really uniquely different. So I'm just going to bring up a couple just to see the difference. Okay, what Carl Jung's. So, okay, so these are the 3 for Carl Jung. So if I look at this one and mine, not that one, let's take the multicolored one. Yeah, so I take my multicolored one. There's some things feel the same, things do feel different with Carl Jung. His Saturn was in Leo. His Uranus was in Leo. And my Pluto was in Leo, so I got the yellow from a different, but it's still different textures, different web. And okay, let's just pull. So these are, and then this is the one I shaded. This was an early chart, so it's shaded and solid. I usually make it a little faded now, a little more faded. But if I took my one that was shaded like that, you start to see how different these shapes can be. The different meanings can be, how the different colors can express these, or mandalas that express these things. We take the standard chart and my standard chart. With the standard aspects, they really get different textures and become very uniquely different for the heliocentric charts. So I just do one other, nothing long time. I just want to just showing you some observations around this. Let's get Freud. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so here's Freud's pattern type. There's Jung's. There's a really distinct different balance between the two. If we took the second one, let's get rid of this one. So with these ones, these pattern types too, this is what they, one line from Earth, one line from the Sun. And what the Freud was the Taurus and Jung was the Leo. So you start to see different patterns, different energies, very unique symbols for each personality, for each person. Oops, that's the multicolored one. Okay, so anyways, those are some of the heliocentric charts. And you can imagine and go into them for hours. It just keeps going. Now we're just about at our time, but I'm going to take another 10 minutes to show you the heliocentric planets across 100 years. These are, they're simple form. They're not as complicated as the forms that we're showing you. It's a video, so you just have to watch through.
To 2049 in fast sequence.
So it starts 1946, beginning spring, summer, fall, then 47. And you watch them come around, but you start to see the different changes of phases in history and the phases of time, different intensities of sunspots, of history, going into the 50s, 51,
52, 1953, 1954,
so that's
1955,
time beginning of rock and roll, post-war.
1956, 1957, 1958.
And slowly the outer planets are moving along and the inner planets are moving faster.
1961,
So you start to see some of the main aspects that happen in a chart. You start
1962,
moving away. Here's on the left, you have Jupiter and Saturn.
1964.
Now these ones were charts that I hand did these ones back in the 70s. And I've never really replaced them. So I made other charts because they're all Photoshopped. These didn't come from a quick program.
1968.
But if you're going to 68 up to 80, you're going to start seeing these planets build up to an extreme. As you see, Pluto, Uranus, Neptune just went into Sag. Saturn's coming along on the outside. They're all building up. It's 72.
1974, 1975, 1976.
So really see them start to build up now. You can see Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, Uranus, Neptune. It's all building up on this one side.
79, 1980.
So right here, we just stop it from 81. You start to see the Earth, Mars is moving in, Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto all in Libra. Uranus just went into Sag with Neptune, and all the planets are going to get really from the Earth, very intense from the Sun, all on one side. It's pretty extreme. It's the most extreme time in 500 years, and it happens every 500 years. So the last time it happened was the Renaissance, and back then, syphilis was deadly and was killing people. We have AIDS. Then that last Pluto went to Scorpio, and then we had they had North America being discovered, with people doing business in North America. Now we have space travel and the internet and things being built up. So different phases of literacy going on. It went back to 500, then it went back to time of Christ.
1982,
See, that's really intense there.
1983, 1984,
That was it.
1985.
So when I saw this, when I was first doing astrology, I had to see 100 years. I had to see my lifetime to see what I would live through or not live through.
1988, 1989,
So, okay, here we are,
1990,
88, 89, 90. We have the Saturn, Uranus, Pluto, and Capricorn. These are the indigo kids. They call the indigo because this whole pileup came up. This was really the beginning of a lot of people started getting more tattoos and piercings, but it was really an earthy manifestation of things.